And so, welcome back to Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age. I should mention that in the previous area, the Gate of... in fact, actually, it's the current area, the Gate of Fire. It's now full of those gargoyle enemies since we've defeated the boss. But anyway, I think it's time. We went through Giruvegan last time, and here, we're face to face with this thing. This thing is something extremely infamous among anyone who's played this game. And I believe if we touch this, we end up here. This is the Great Crystal. And guess what? You don't have a map for this place. And some areas are blocked off by gates. Gate Scorpio. Just like in Giruvegan itself. There are gates that are named after different star signs. This is one of the most infamous places in this game, and I think you can probably tell why. The lack of a map. This whole area is one giant maze with no map. And I actually feel like they expected, I feel like this is a throwback to a lot of very old school RPGs, and they expected you to draw your own map of this place. Was that thing just casting death? It looked like death. Just casting Thundaga there, or Thundagar. There's a trap there. Fortunately, I have Penelope in the party, so she can cast Float on us. I almost said Inflict Float. I mean, I guess it is kind of a status. Yeah, the whole design of this place is pretty cool. Like, we are inside a giant crystal. There aren't a lot of sort of game settings that do that. Oh, the Cloud Staff. I think that's actually... No, it does not make you an angsty poser from XII. But I think it does buff multiple elements at once. Yes, it boosts lightning, wind, and water elemental damage, which is pretty amazing. In the PS2 version, it only boosted the damage of water, though, which was considerably less amazing. Yeah, and this is why I remember these pathways. Because we'll be seeing these whole exploding paths quite a lot, and I also just realized I kind of wanted to spend some LP before I went here. Oh, Hellblaster, okay. Okay. Yeah, so... We didn't get to see that with the Marlboro, but... So, that is Petrify, Sleep, Slow, Disable, Silence, Immobilize, Blind... That is just, like, seriously, overkill much? It just... I don't know how many remedy laws Fran has. I should probably... You know what? I'm actually going to switch Bolfir into the party just because... I know he has all the remedy laws for a fact. And yep, that fixed every status, so remedies are pretty useful in these parts, and you should definitely have all the remedy laws by now, whether you're playing the original version or Zodiac Age. But I just... Yeah. Oh no, not again. Don't do it again, please. Oh, okay, so it can either do that or reduce you to 1 HP. But 1 HP is probably the lesser of two evils, especially since some characters get stronger when they're on low HP. A Thief's Cap. I don't know if that increases the odd... Yeah, I don't think it raises the odds of you stealing or anything. I think it's just a decent piece of light armor. So yeah, we're just wandering through this twisted maze of passages all alike, to quote a very old game. So I'm probably just gonna mess around for a while, not really knowing where we should be going at all. Guess this place is a good place to quote the "there's no earthly way of knowing which way that we are going" speech. Waystone 7. Guess that fits since we just got the cloud staff. And here we are in... Well, we've moved a little bit on the map, but we don't know exactly where we are. And we have 3 possible exits to this room. Okay then, yeah. When I first played this, I actually printed out a map of the Great Crystal that I found online. On one of the IGN guides, I think. This was before the IGN guides were crap. Oh, of course, the barriers block passage for you, but not for the enemies. There we go. Well, I mean, he's KO'd, so, that's the thing. However, some status ailments persist even after, KO. Oh, and because he's silenced, he's not going to be able to cure his own status ailments. However, my, spear can pierce through this barrier. Aha! The force field penetrating spear! It's one of the, actually decently funny lines from Looney Tunes back in action. Someone believes that everything in a certain room is protected by a force field, and then another one throws an apple, and it hits him in the head, and he's like, "Aha! The force field penetrating apple." It's just, I just found it kind of funny because it was so out of nowhere. But yes, these things really love to guard the spots here, don't they? I think I should probably get rid of blind now. But yeah, so I had a printout of the map of this place from a guide. Nowadays, you can probably easily look up a guide to the Great Crystal. But the good news is, the Great Crystal is actually, we don't have to visit the whole place this time. The vast majority of the Great Crystal is optional. And the true terror will be when we come back here post-game, because I do fully intend on getting to the end of the Great Crystal. It's pretty much an optional dungeon. You only explore a very small part of it during this visit. And it's pretty much post-game worthy. Cancer Gate Stone. Well, we found the Cancer Gate earlier. Problem is, now we have to remember which way we've gone. Sometimes it can actually be helpful if you ever need to retrace your steps to not open up the paths to later areas, because now we can just retrace the places that have paths actually open. Wait a minute, Waystone 6. I feel like we've actually gone the wrong way, or maybe just only one path opens at a time. I think we headed down last time, and I think the only thing on that platform was a chest, so hopefully I'm going the right... I think this is the right way. You can never be sure in this place, but yeah, there goes Barsh again. And he's still blinded, so somebody needs to unblind him. And it'll be not my, would have been probably cheap to use an eye drop, but oh well. Not my AoE magic attacker. See, now you know why I said earlier on that I really don't like Coerls. These ones are named after a demon from the Ars Goetia for good reason. Yeah, Coerls, the later Coerls love to inflict horrible status ailments on you. Gold hairpin, that sounds like an accessory. No, is it a piece of... No, yeah, it's Mystic Armor. Mystic Armor 8. It's worse than the Golden Skull Cap. But it's better than what Ash had before. Good amount of vitality. Okay, there's only one exit out of this one. So yeah, going through one of these areas semi-blind, because obviously I remember absolutely nothing about the layout of this place from my first playthrough. I remember what it looks like, I remember vaguely what you have to do, like the vague kind of gimmicks of this place. I don't remember at all the path you need to take to get through here. Reaper, that's what they all call you. Why? Because you all die. When we Curaja, we end your lives. Doom. Yeah, kind of had a feeling you'd use something like that. I think the only way to remove Doom is via a remedy with enough remedy laws. I'm gonna gamble and hope Fran has enough. Nope. Well, I guess we have to use Bolthir for this. Yep, there we go. The music here is pretty nice, though. It does have that sort of mysterious feeling. A lot of music in this game, it knows when to be sort of quiet and more subdued. It was reminding me a bit of like something that Chugga was saying in his Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Let's Play, Pisces now. That I'm pretty positive we can't even get to most of the bad parts of this place now. But yeah, what I was saying in the Let's Play is that there's a certain area in the game that has a really sort of very hurried sounding song to it. And to a lot of people, like, they find it a bit weird once because you visit the area for the first time during the big dramatic story events, but then the second time that you go there, it's an optional area that's just a really big open field that doesn't really have any sense of urgency at all, so the very dramatic, like, hurry, hurry, hurry sounding music still playing for that just feels a bit, not great. No, he's not even blinded. So yeah, sometimes going for certain types of atmosphere with music is quite, set of Gaia gear, that's cool, is quite good. Gaia gear is Mystic Armor, which is better than what she had. Oh, there's the Power Vest that I forgot to check out earlier. I guess Vaughn can take that for a little bit more strength. I mean, worse strength, but, you know, that's lower strength on Ash, which doesn't really make much of a difference. Not that big of a boost to her other stats, though, unfortunately. So yeah, there is something to be said for atmosphere, and whoa, this place is getting really, really bright. I guess this place must have looked normal on my old TV then. And yet more of these Switch Guardians. They love putting these things near switches. Yeah, I still have a lot of printouts from old guides. In fact, inside my my game case for Path of Radiance is a set of printed out guides to fixed mode from serenadesforest.net. And I've also got, like, I found some of these when I was cleaning out my room. A few printed walkthroughs from, again, IGN for Final Fantasy X. There were guides to things like getting the celestial weapons and finding the optional Aeons, I think. These guides, I don't think they exist anymore, so my printouts of them are some of the few that still exist. Yeah, we are getting kind of close to the bottom of the crystal right now, and I feel like that's actually our destination at this point, because I know that at the very top of the crystal, and I think the crystal does change color depending on where you are in it, at the very top of the crystal is, now here's the question, where the heck was the was the gate that I, went through before? Was it through a waystone, or was it not through a waystone? Did I go down or up? I greatly apologize if these areas end up being not that interesting to watch me bumble around in blind. Okay, that's another waystone. Waystone 3. That waystone looks important as well. Is this the end of this area? It might actually be the end of this area. Because I feel like once we leave here, we're going to get sucked into a boss fight. Because there is a boss fight at the end of Eurovegan, which kind of comes right after the Great Crystal. Well, evidently we didn't, find the switch for this one. This is Gate Ares. But yeah, I do think it really would help if you actually drew your own map for this area. Like, I don't mean in-game, I actually mean out-of-game. That's probably what they expect you to do. And that was a skill that RPG players were supposed to have in the early days of video games. All these newfangled, you know... Yeah, that was an important, gate crystal. All these newfangled auto-mapping things.
I've never seen this much mist. Are you all right?
I'm fine, thank you.
Is that nethicite?
I wonder.
With that much nethicite in one's grasp.
You could destroy all of Ivalice, if you wished it.
Ah, the lure of power. That's pretty much what this is all about. That's, yeah, an enormous version of that, well, all the nethicite we've been getting so far. This might be the source of it, too. And, well, you can probably see why Dr. Sid would go a little bit mad with power if he saw that. That's like the nethicite motherlode. And yeah, if just a tiny stone was enough to destroy an entire airship fleet. Or, you know, you could take pieces of that stone a little at a time and use it to... Oh, that's smart of you, you're ganging up so you can attack in numbers. And just, you know, use it to power a whole army. And I suppose that's something that I should mention here. A lot of Final Fantasy games have been, crystals have been a common theme in those games. And this is one FF game that actually kind of deconstructs the concept of the crystals and concept of MacGuffins in general. The idea of going after a MacGuffin that is kind of, sort of an equivalent of uranium, I've already been this way, and basically nuclear weapons, and just what that does to people, what that does to highly militarized countries. Well, I definitely haven't come this way. Oh, the mom bombs, which, given this game uses British spellings a lot of the time, it's kind of surprising these things are spelled M-O-M. These things have to die very, very quickly. Oh, there it goes. Oh, actually, its explosion wasn't that bad at all. No trap on this one. So, like, as you can probably tell, most of the treasures in the Great Crystal are extremely good, and later on in the game, it's a drop to strength but a raise to speed. If anything, I'd prefer that on Balthier, because he's not needing strength with guns, and he does have the highest natural speed stat of the party, mainly at the end of the game. But yeah, Hastegar. I know that the Hastegar spell is in the post-game part of this. There's a lot of other pretty good things that are in here too. Unfortunately, there's quite a few magics that are exclusive to the... Aha! Hi there, Trap. They're exclusive to this place. Necrophobes. Oh, these things. Actually called necrophobia in Japanese. I suppose, you know, that doesn't... It makes sense they'd localize it this way because, you know, necrophobia describes the condition, whereas necrophobe would be, you know, describing a being. So I suppose these are, people who tried to prolong their own lives, I guess. Kind of like Voldemort, whose name I think literally means, like, one who flies from death. But necrophobes are important because there is, there's a rare game, there's a very infamous rare game that I guess I can talk about now, in the Great Crystal. I did complete the Great Crystal in my first playthrough. It was one of the few optional dungeons that I did complete, because there's an optional Esper in here, and it is one of the strongest optional Espers in the game. But, see, now I don't even know where the Ares Gate is, because I wasn't keeping accurate track of everything here. Uh-oh, who's dying? Yep, there goes Barsh. I'm still not entirely sure, like, what Barsh says when he goes down. I think it's like, it cannot be thus. And I keep forgetting whether this is the waystone we came in from or the waystone we came out. You know what? I might as well actually look up a map to see where the Ares Gate is, because I don't want to press a switch and then not do anything with it in the episode. Okay, this is really, really interesting. I didn't know this. This is just something I'm finding out from the wiki. So, whenever you're in an area, you'll actually see a name of a location. So here we are at Vicari Broom. these look like sort of vaguely Sanskrit. They're actually bastardizations of English terms, and I don't know how you're expected to figure this out. They actually do have meaning. So, A is up. Vikari is shift, and Broom is the third layer from the bottom. This refers to where a teleporter is going to take you. So Vikari means shift up a layer, and Broom is where we are right now, so we do not want to take this teleporter. So like, basically, there's a made-up language to this place, and if you can decipher it, you can vaguely figure out the names of certain areas and what they're implying. I don't know if anyone ever, like, directly figured that out without any outside help, but so here we are in Da Vikari Jula. That would mean shift down. Well, I mean, I'll know this is the right one if it's, Waystone 3. Okay, so I'm also pretty sure that we've found, like, there are 3 chests in this mini section of the Great Crystal, that we can get now. And I think I got all of them. But there's also, like, later on, so where we are here, we are at Crystal Core. Okay, so this is obviously just the Crystal Core. So this one doesn't have a crazy made-up word for it. And there should be a save crystal around here. But you also have words for, like, north, northeast, east, southeast, etc. As well as, like, words that show distance from the core of the Great Crystal. And then one that means ground, which refers to ones that link to Giruvegan. So, yeah, that's just... So I do think one strength of this game is kind of in its world building, but to a different extent than the Trails series. The Trails series is like all about character world building, but also some other like daily lives. This has a lot of really good mythological world building, like the Great Crystal having its own made up language is pretty insane. That actually means something if you can decipher it. Now, through that crystal, I think we will be heading into a boss fight, so I should spend some LP before I continue. For Varn, there's a swiftness license I can get somewhere. There we go, I'll definitely want to go for that. And there's also more HP I can take. You know, being able to use bubble belts is always a good thing. Since accessories this late in are giving us items that are so good, I might as well go for like as many accessory licenses as I can. Ring of Renewal can be obtained from the Airship Sisters quest. Oh, that was 80. I read that as 30 for some reason. There's also that, but I don't have Protector and Shelga yet, so there's no real point. Should Balthier go for Mechanist or Knight right now? Or should I just go for some more accessories, maybe? Extra HP is nice, though. Especially if I go for Knight a little bit. In fact, he might even be able to get Defender if I go for the Greatsword section. And, well, I got that out of my Esper. Ultima Blade isn't for very late, I don't think. Well, I can get Defender there. Shield block is kind of nice too. And I suppose we can take Greatswords 1. And Fran has like 70 bajillion LP right now. We'll have access to that decently soon, so I may as well, you know, as I keep saying, future-proof for that. Opal Ring on a caster is always good. Seems like pretty much every class has access to the ribbon, which is good. I have been told that it is relatively easy to farm for those chocobos. The level 99 red chocobos, I mean. So I might not necessarily need to go for the ribbon from the Hunt Club. Just ribbon's a convenient item to have access to, though. And I suppose I can take that for completeness. And now Barsh. Well, I could get... okay, there's Defender, so I can go for that. Excalibur, which is a holy elemental sword, by the way, so that's pretty effective against enemies that are, well, weak to holy, which reminds me of that really dodgy translation in the original version of Persona 5, where it's like, guns are effective against enemies that are weak to guns. Yeah, you think? Anyway, I think I'll just get some more accessories on Barsh. Even though he doesn't really need much other than the bubble belt from now on. Okay, we can get Scathe now, even though Scathe is very much awesome but impractical. Because of its long animation, you just can't really spam it, and in fact, in particular, I remember reading, I think in the original game, it might have had the highest effect capacity in the game, which is really bad, because if you overload the effect capacity, nobody else can use anything that has animations attached to it, so... yeah, that was why magic was gimped a little bit in the original game. Because if you tried to cast too many things, you'd blow all the effect capacity, and then nobody would really, like, everyone would be stuck waiting in a queue for their spells to go off, which would be really bad if it was healing. And now, Penelo, let's see. Oh, okay, now I can use Vanishka. It's pretty late in time, Mage. Reflector and Sloga, both of which I have. Don't actually know if there's anything good over here. Oh, there's a Swiftness. Also, yeah, Graviga and Heiska. Heiska, like I said, it's almost at the very top of the Great Crystal too, like right near the optional Esper, so... by the time you actually get it, it's really not, like, you're already way far enough in the game that you can quite easily, beat most things without it. Actually, Bow Belt on you is not a bad idea. In fact, it might actually be a very good idea. Bit of extra protection for Penelo. Speaking of which, so who are we going to go into this fight with? I mean, I could just use this party. Yeah, I could just use this party. Because this thing might actually be somewhat relevant to Fran. Yeah, it just says Crystal Core. We're going to the very bottom of the Great Crystal now, but the optional one is at the very top of the Great Crystal. And this takes us out. Like I said, it's a dungeon within a dungeon, but we only explore a very, very small part of it, and I remember this area. So here, we're coming up on a circular room. I would buff here, but do I really need it is the question. Because I'm worried that I'm going to make this boss look like a joke. Look like a complete joke. I'm going to not buff just to see how we go with this. Yep, surprise, surprise, we haven't had a required story Esper fight in a really long time, but this is the third required Esper, Shemhazai, the Whisperer. Shemhazai is a mostly non-elemental Esper, and it is actually a she. Like, every Esper we've seen so far has been male, unless you count Zalera, who's technically two people. But, yes, this is a she, and as you can tell by those crossbow arms, she represents the star sign of Sagittarius. She's just draining our MP for now, which is interesting. She normally likes to use this attack called, like, Soul something, but she also uses Shock, which is a non-elemental black magic spell that does a lot of damage. Okay then, that was stronger than I expected, but she's actually going down very quickly, so I can probably afford to... Wait, Penelo is still... Oh no, she just got raised, okay. Still siphoning. Shemhazai is an Esper that I'm kind of looking forward to using because she works very strangely. Flare. Okay, yeah, she's definitely strong in that regard. Who are you targeting there? Oh, Penelo, that's not good. Is Penelo going to explode? Yeah, Penelo exploded. Fran is very quick with Raise, though. Oh, actually, I should probably be using Haste, but I don't really have enough time to use Haste now. If I want to just finish this quickly... Enrage is just going to let you use other attacks and stuff, but I am, you know... Berserk now, Chain Magic, that's going to make you cast 2 spells in a row and the second has 0 charge time, but that really doesn't matter because you're almost down. Okay, you do have, like, reduced normal damage. Like, she's almost pretty much gone. She hasn't really been able to do much apart from her basic, magical attacks. Yep, there we go. Not a particularly difficult fight for a well-prepared party. The optional Espers are the ones that are the real challenges. I do like the idea of this Esper, though. She's basically like a centaur with crossbow hands. Interesting representation of Sagittarius. In my first playthrough, I put her on Varn, and that's actually the Esper that I was mentioning in the Fawn Coast that Varn has on him in one of the demos. But, as we stand here, in fact, I probably should have waited to spend LP until after I got her. I am a derp, because I knew this was coming. I knew that at the end of Giruvegan there was a required Esper fight. Oh well, I can make up a little bit of LP to get her on someone. And Barsh is still Berserk, which means that I can't actually move, because no commands means that you can't even control them on the field. But I can just dispel that if I want, or, you know, I could switch over to Fran. I wanted to leave these until... I was considering opening those during the fight, but then I thought, you know what, I want to leave them as a surprise for after the battle. Reverse. Okay, reverse can be kind of useful, especially since I don't think Shemhazai can heal. But anyway, let's see what Shemhazai unlocks on the license board. So Shikari seems to get 2 things. Guns. And some... Actually, Fomalhaut used to be the best gun in the game. It's not anymore, but yeah, those are some pretty good guns at that. So that's an option. Also, Bushi. I already have what was for Bushi from one of my other classes. I definitely need to level up Bushi more. I need more Mystic Armor so I can power up the Masamune. And then there's this thing, which is the better version of the Masamune. Let's see. Knight gets a Potion Lord that I already had. And Machinist gets Hand Bombs too. Yeah, I don't like Hand Bombs, so no. I'm gonna leave Fran until last because somebody in the comments recommended her for Fran. Potion Lord 2. Oh wait, I already saw Knight. Ulan gets... nothing. Black Mage gets Heavy Armor 7, including Mirror Mail, which is actually not a bad idea because you can then bounce your spells off of yourself to get rid of enemy reflects. So that's a possibility. And then Time Battle Mage and White Mage. Time Battle Mage gets nothing, and White Mage gets a boost to HP. But Red Battle Mage gets Cleanse and Esuna, 2 things that it wouldn't have had before. And Archer gets 3 sets of Heavy Armor. And actually, Maximilian is one of the best pieces of heavy armor in the game. And yeah, that unlocks them on this board as well. And you know, the idea of Fran having the Sagittarius Esper kind of makes sense. So, you know, I think I'm going to give her to Fran. And I am quite eager to show off how Shemhazai works because, like I said, she's very weird in how she works. She's non-elemental in a sense, but at the same time, not really. Like, if anything, her actual element is kind of items. If that makes any sense. So, this room right here, doesn't look like there's any chests here, but there is an ominously placed big warp beacon in the center. Empyrean Waystone. So, when we touch this, it's gonna be cutscene time, and I think I'll save that for the next part. So, I will see you all then for, well, who knows what will happen next in our tale. Oh, wait. I forgot to talk about that infamous rare game in the Great Crystal. So, just to quickly mention that, It is a gargoyle-type enemy called Larvae Eater, and it is incredibly annoying to spawn. The only way to spawn it involves killing a whole lot of necrophobes and just repeatedly going back and forth between parts of the Great Crystal. And it drops the best dagger in the game in the PS2 version, and I think that was the only way to get that dagger in that version of the game. And it was a very low drop rate too. There's a trick that lets you chain it, kind of, exploiting the fact that enemies killed with poison, doom, or petrification don't kill chains. So you could fight gargoyle-type enemies and then kill the necrophobes, and also mum bombs, I think, spawn it, with status ailments. Anyway, that's how it was done there. I think it drops the Mina in this version, which is one of the best daggers in the game. But anyway, I highly doubt I'll be going for that on camera, because that's just insane. What I was trying to say in my original trek through the crystal was that I did complete the Great Crystal in my first playthrough. I did not get that dagger though. In fact, it never even got the Larvae Eater to spawn at all. So anyway, now I will leave you until next time.